In my experience, lots of intermediate lifters love to get caught up in the minutia. They love to worry about the small details. They love to worry about, hey guys, it's JP here. I want to start a series of videos where I kind of share some of my ideas and principles and just little tidbits that might help you in your powerlifting training and kind of get the best out of your powerlifting training. Over the years, I've created lots of videos that are gym specific. So in the gym, very practical, very tutorial-like, educational, showing you things and how to improve your training. So if you haven't seen a lot of those videos, I recommend you go to my YouTube channel. I've got a playlist called The How-Tos of Powerlifting. Go and watch those. Those are great, if I do say so myself. But I want to start a series of videos where I kind of like just talk and share some ideas and just spitball some things that might help powerlifters out there. Kind of like a podcast format, but hopefully with some graphics and some like images, I suppose, that will support the things that I'm saying. So this is the first of those. Hopefully I can make this a consistent thing. Follow along if that's what you're into. Today's topic, what really matters for training progress? Now the important thing here is it's not what really matters for powerlifting performance. That's a different thing. Today we're talking about what really matters for training progress. And this is specifically for the beginner, late beginner, maybe early intermediate type of lifter. Someone that has, say, 6 to 2 years worth of training, 6 months up to 2 years worth of training experience or kind of serious training experience. I'm going to outline some factors that you really need to nail down if you want to progress, if you want to get stronger, if you want to improve as a powerlifter. And I'm going to lay them out kind of like a pyramid in terms of what's the most important and what's the least important. Okay, most important. We'll start with the best stuff. The most important thing if you want to improve as a powerlifter, in my opinion, as a lifter and as a coach for many years, is your consistency. You need to be consistent in the amount of training that you're doing. So, what I often say to people who are maybe new and still getting into the routine of training is if you train 3 days per week, 50 weeks a year, you will improve. You will get better, and that is the first step towards improvement, is getting in the training sessions, 150 sessions a year. It almost doesn't matter about the other factors. Of course it does matter, but it almost doesn't matter if you're nailing this. If you're getting in 150 sessions a year, if you're training 3 times a week, 50 weeks a year, ideally 4 times a week, 50 weeks a year, 200 sessions. If you're getting 150 to 200 sessions per year, that is the first step that will take you towards improvement and getting stronger. So that would be the base of your pyramid. Okay, second point of the pyramid is your effort in the gym and the amount of effort you are putting into your sessions. So that means, are you focused on your sets? Are you thinking about the cues that you need to be executing on each set? Are you pushing yourself to high RPs on your accessory work or on the training that you're supposed to be doing that on? Are you conscious of your technique? Are you just trying really hard or hard at all? This would be the next step that you need to make sure that you are nailing if you want to improve. It's very hard to improve if you are not engaged in your training mentally, if you are not trying really hard, if you are lacking effort in your training. Okay, third point on the pyramid, the third most important thing I would say is your programming. Now, programming sits on a very broad spectrum from completely useless right up to God's program, that is perfectly optimized for you. Your programming matters, and you should be doing programming that's suited to you, that's suited to your ability, that's suited to your responsiveness to different training stimuli. So you need to find training that suits you. If you look at some of the top lifters in the world, not only top lifters, but even just people who are improving, there is such a broad range of training that results in improvement. There are key principles that you need to keep in mind, but as long as you're finding training that is logical for you, that is reasonable, that is, I suppose the third step in improvement. Finding a coach that can kind of help you pick those types of, or sift through the type of programming variables will be very beneficial. Okay, point 4 I've got here on this pyramid, fourth most important thing is nutrition. Again, nutrition is very important. You have to be eating well, make sure you're getting enough protein, make sure that you are distributing your food across the day well, make sure you are eating well before and after training. Those types of things are important. Number 5, sleep and recovery. Some people might argue that recovery should be a little bit higher up on this list, but I would say sleep and recovery, again, an important aspect to your training. If you are not recovering from your training sessions, you're not going to be getting stronger. It's very difficult to improve if you are sleeping poorly. And number 6, I would say, would be psychological skills, psychological habits, self-talk, motivation, managing your arousal in the gym, visualization, these types of things. Now, why is it important to reflect on these factors as a pyramid? Why is it important to think what is the most important or what really matters for my training progress? In my experience, lots of intermediate, late beginner lifters love to get caught up in the minutia. They love to worry about the small details. They love to worry about, oh, should I be doing high bar or safety bar? Should I be having my protein before training or after training? Should I use ammonia or, before my big sets or whatever? Yet they'll be completely ignoring the fact that they missed 3 sessions last month and that they are getting distracted while they're in the gym and they're not taking their sets seriously. It's really important that you understand that, like, whether or not you do a safety bar or high bar squat, whether or not you do 4 sets or 3 sets, probably doesn't matter that much unless you are absolutely nailing the bottom things on this pyramid. So my advice to you as a lifter is to reflect on your training and reflect on it in a systematic way, starting from the bottom of this pyramid, starting with consistency. Is your consistency good? Do you miss sessions? If you're missing sessions, that is the first thing to fix up. You need to sort out your routine. You need to figure out your schedule. Are you overcommitting to other factors in your life? Are you overcommitting to your powerlifting? Are you trying to promise yourself that you're going to train 5 days a week when realistically you can only train 4 days per week? Whatever it might be realistic with yourself and get consistent in your training. Ideally, consistent times per week, ideally consistent days per week. But the important thing is don't miss sessions, get all your sessions done. If you're getting all your sessions, the next thing to think about is, are you training hard? Man, you could be training on the dumbest program, maybe not the dumbest program, but you could be training on a very average internet program that you've just downloaded from the internet that is not in any way catered for you personally. But you could be improving if you are putting an effort into the gym, if you're trying really hard, if your warm-up sets you are aiming to nail, you are doing all those types of things right, you can improve. So don't miss the forest for the trees would be my advice, which is to say, don't get caught up in the small stuff and not realize that you're leaving behind the things that actually matter, what really matters for your training progress. And make sure that you are understanding that there is very little purpose in hyperfixating on these details on your, whether you sleep 7 hours or 7.5 hours, again, won't matter if you're missing training sessions or if you're slacking off in the gym. You can imagine for a more advanced lifter, for someone that's lifting heavier weights, that's got higher performance, that's got more experience, the later things really do start to matter, because at a high level, everyone's consistent. At a high level, everyone's training hard. At a high level, everyone's got good programming. So what's going to start to separate people at the top level in terms of their progress, of course, other than things like genetics and technique and stuff, but in terms of actually progressing, what's really going to make a difference is nailing those things at the higher end of the pyramid. So, a top level lifter really has to start nailing their nutrition. A top level lifter really has to start nailing their sleep. But unless you're at that level, it's not something to worry about. So again, my advice to you is be realistic with yourself where you're at in your training journey. Are you nailing those bottom things on the pyramid? If you are nailing those bottom things, then you can start to worry about the things towards the top, but don't get caught up in those unless you're nailing those bottom things. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on any further. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, feel free to subscribe, like the video, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.